Okay, welcome guys. So today's Wednesday webinar, as you guys know, we are doing this recurringly on every Wednesday. Like we do a marketing webinar. So today we are doing it on the topic, the importance of learner feedback and how you can use it to improve your courses. All right. We will wait for 1 or 2 minutes. After that, we'll mostly start. All right. Okay, guys. I hope everyone of you who are interested in this topic are here. All right. Uh, Great. So, as I'll repeat again, the topic for today's marketing webinar is the importance of learner feedback and how you can use it to improve your courses. All right. So, we'll start with the overview as to what we are going to discuss in this webinar. The first one is introduction. All right. Second is the types of feedback there are. And the third one would be how you can analyze those feedback and use it into a actionable insight so that you can use it to enhance your courses for your students. All right. Moving on. So, why is feedback important? Right. So feedback is very important because you get to know like what is working well. You also get to know like what needs improvement. Once you see the feedback which is coming out of your learners who are genuinely giving you feedback, then you get to understand like how you can shape your teaching methods, how you can adjust your curriculum, and ultimately enhance your learner satisfaction as well as success of your courses. So now moving on to the types of feedback. The first type of feedback that you will receive or you must have received by now is positive feedback. So as you can see on the right hand side, a positive feedback would look anywhere like this. Like your lectures are so well structured and clear. I really appreciate how you use real life example to explain complex theories. It makes the material much more relatable and easier to understand, right? So what does a positive feedback tell you guys? So mostly a positive feedback lets you understand or lets you know that a lot of the things that you're doing with your courses or are doing in the courses, you're doing right. It gives you that thumbs up. It's like a thumbs up from your learners who are who have bought your courses. All right. Other than that, it also lets you know what your students are actually enjoying in the course, like what they are getting engaged with, and also what aspects of the course are working effectively when it comes to engaging your learners and giving a solid um, learning experience to your students as well. All right. Moving on to the next type of feedback, which is negative feedback, right? This is something which frustrates a lot of your learners and it will also frustrate you as a course creator. All right. So nobody wants to receive a negative feedback, but ultimately it helps you in improving your courses. All right. So as an example, you can see on the right hand side, this learner is obviously not happy. As you can see, I've been struggling to keep up with the course content because the reading materials are not very clear. I often find myself confused and spending a lot of extra time on external research. So this is the kind of learner who is just on the verge of, not completing the course, also who is most probably not going to buy your next course. So you need to understand like what your course is not delivering to your learners, so that you can improve your courses or your next courses, and so that you do not lose out on learners who have like some issues with your courses. All right. It also enables you to correct course elements that are not working great. It gives you, so a lot of the times what we think is like the course that we have made is doing pretty great and it's doing well with the learners, right? And we do not pay that much attention to like what our course is lacking, right? Our courses may be like 90 out of 10, but to make it into 100, we need to understand where the learner is coming from when they are giving that negative feedback. All right. All right. So moving on to the next type of feedback, it's constructive feedback. So this is the best type of feedback. So a constructive feedback, you can categorize it as any feedback wherein they're giving you some sort of a actionable advice. All right. As you can see on the right hand side, like I enjoy the group discussions that we have in class, but it would be helpful if we had set a guiding questions beforehand. This would help us focus our discussions and ensure everyone is on the same page, right? So this is something which like the learner himself or herself is letting you know, okay, like this is something which can be improved and should be improved, right? It does not have that negative connotation to it. All right. So it's something you can work on and take it as a constructive feedback. All right. So what does constructive feedback help with? It helps you with providing suggestions on how you can improve your current courses. It also is action oriented and offers specific ideas for improvement. All right. As you can see in the comment or the feedback itself, it's very specific, where the student is saying that if you were sharing guiding questions beforehand, before the group discussions, it would be helpful. So you can start doing this because it's action oriented advice, right? Okay. Moving on to analyzing your feedback. So SMART framework, you must be aware of SMART. All right. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So SMART methodology is used in a lot of things, but here I'll help you understand how you can use SMART framework to analyze feedback. So what SMART framework does is it helps you in providing clarity and helps you focus on your analysis. All right. So with specific, you look at the feedback that pinpoints precise areas of the course. When it comes to measurable, this helps you to measure the impact of the feedback. You get to know like whether the feedback that the person has provided, whether you can actually measure it on your course or maybe in your reports. All right. Other than that, it also suggests changes that are within our means to implement. So if a feedback that is provided by a learner is not under your I would say like under your means, or you don't have the bandwidth, or there's some issue that you cannot change that in your course, that means it's not achievable, right? And it cannot be done at that point of time or even in the coming future, right? Other than that, relevant means like changes that are relevant to your core objectives of the course. So a lot of the times you'll receive feedback which will ask you to change something in your course, or which will help you to increase your learning experience, not your learning experience but your students learning experience. But sometimes you have to take a look back as to like whether those changes are relevant to your course or not, right? Because you do not want to tinker with the core objectives of the course. All right. Other than that, by time bound, it means like it encourages you to prioritize feedback based on when changes need to be made. All right. So let's see how you can use SMART framework on a feedback that you have received. Let's say that the feedback that you have received is that module 4 of the course, which covers quantum physics, is too difficult to grasp. The concepts are not explained well and the assignments are too complex to understand, right? So we'll go one by one from specific to time bound. So this feedback is about module 4. So that's very specific. The person concerned is saying that he does not, he thinks the quantum physics is very difficult to grasp in module 4, and also specifically the difficulty level of quantum physics concepts and the complex assignments. So you know the specifics of where the problem lies. All right. When it comes to measurable, you can measure the difficulty by looking at the grades of the students that the students are getting on the assignments from this module, and by noting the time students are spending on this module compared to others. That'll give you that numbers and analytics as to, okay, if you see like a lot of students are finding it hard to pass in your assignments, right? And even the top students are scoring somewhere very less than what you expect, then you know that the assignment that you're giving out is very much complex, right? When it comes to achievable, you have to see if adjusting the difficulty level is achievable or not. So sometimes the difficulty level that you have set is there for a reason, right? You don't want you want your students to understand the concepts in such a manner that they are able to achieve that great understanding and also then go on to the assignments and then complete it, right? So this could be done by adding more explanatory content if you want to change, obviously. If you don't want to change your assignments, and if you think that it is achievable, it is not achievable, then you can let it be. But that's a decision which will come on your part as to whether it is achievable to make those changes that are suggested in the feedback or not, right? Now, moving on to the fourth part, which is relevant. Does making this module more accessible and understandable aligns with our course objectives of imparting knowledge effectively? So before making a change as per or like based out of a feedback, you have to see whether that change is actually supporting your knowledge, your learning objectives or not. If it's not supporting your learning objectives, if it's not supporting the learners, if it's not supporting a well-mannered learning, then you know that implementing that change from the feedback that you've received is not that important of a change that you need to implement, right? And last but not the least, which is time bound. So you can aim to revise this module by the start of the next semester. This gives you a deadline to work towards, right? And who doesn't love deadlines, right? So when you do this with a deadline, you can get the task completed in time bound manner. And this is what smart feedback or like smart framework is all about. You get to identify what changes needs to be made, whether those changes are achievable or not, or whether those changes are also relevant or not. And if you think all the four things are a tick, then you can make a timeline as to when those changes are to be made, and you can finish that in a timely manner, right? All right, moving on to the next part, which is how you can identify patterns in feedback. So let's say like you're not analyzing one or two feedback, right? You're analyzing around 20 to 50 to around 100 feedbacks. So then identifying patterns is critical, because then you get to understand the common areas of success and areas which need improvement in your courses. But you can't go through each feedback one by one if the number of feedbacks is like, let's say, more than 100, right? So in this so at that time, identifying the patterns in the feedback will help you understand like, okay, maybe my course is way too much difficult in the module 4. Maybe the quantum physics concept is very complex, and if you see like this is something which is mentioned in, let's say, 70 out of the 100 feedback that you've received, then you know that, okay, like 70 learners are letting me know that the module of quantum physics is way too difficult, right? So then you know, okay, this is a change that maybe I need to look upon. All right. So now we will be going into ChatGPT. I'll give you how you can use ChatGPT to understand and like form patterns in the feedback that you have received. All right. Let's say, so I have this 15 feedbacks. So these are some random feedbacks that I have gotten out of ChatGPT itself. All right. So let me show you how you can extract patterns and actionable insight out of this. You can do it with your real feedbacks. I don't have real feedbacks, so I'm using this. Can you give me patterns? So you can just paste, can you give me patterns based on these feedbacks and give me actionable insights for the same. All right. Then what you can do is you can go and take your feedbacks, like copy it. Just a second. Okay. So as you can see here, we have around 15 odd feedbacks. All right. It's important that you use feedback which are genuine, which you have received genuinely on your courses, or else it won't make sense, because then the kind of actionable insights you'll be receiving would be random, because the feedbacks are random. So make sure that you use as much genuine feedbacks as possible in this. All right. Okay. So as you can see, it has started to give you some feedback. All right. Comparative analysis of email marketing platforms. Actionable insight include a comprehensive comparison of different email marketing platforms, highlighting their features, benefits, and pricing. This will help learners make informed decisions when choosing a platform for their campaigns. The other one, let's read the third one. Case studies for A/B testing. Actionable insight integrate case studies showcasing both successful and unsuccessful A/B testing attempts. This will provide learners with practical examples and a deeper understanding of how A/B testing impacts email campaign performance. Right? So, ChatGPT will analyze the feedback that is provided to you, um, um, and will give you some actionable insight as to what you can do to improve the experience of the learners. Right? So, this is a great tool, and you can definitely make use of it to analyze the feedbacks. If it's, let's say, if it's in the number of 100, right, out of, you can post all the 100 here, and then you can ask ChatGPT to give you like form patterns as to what are the common feedback or the common problems that the students are facing. So you can do those things, right? And you can play around with ChatGPT to get or like understand what is the problem that your learners are facing in majority, right? Let's go back to our presentation. All right. So now we have understood how we can identify patterns in feedback with the help of ChatGPT. So I hope this made sense. See, like whatever I'm teaching you guys right here, this is all gonna make sense once you start doing it practically on your own and you start playing around. And at the end of the day, like whatever feedback you receive, whether it's good, bad, or like constructive, you have to take it to your chin, and um, because eventually it'll help you to understand your learners, whether the feedback is negative or not, and it'll help you in making your courses so much better for your upcoming learners, right? I hope this session was fruitful for you guys, and if you have any questions, you can let me know in the YouTube chat. All right, I am waiting here for 5 minutes, so if you have any questions, do let me know. Okay, guys, sounds like every one of you have understood everything I've taught, which makes me feel great. All right. Okay. I'll see you guys on next Wednesday. By the way, don't forget we also have our upcoming webinar on Friday, and it's not a marketing webinar, it's product webinar. So make sure you are there. All right. Thank you so much once again.